Welcome back. Today, we're building a React to-do list app, perfect for beginners. We'll cover key concepts like state management, components, and event handling. By the end, you'll have a functional app to add, edit, delete, and complete tasks. Let's dive in. First, let's start with the to-do-wrapper.js file. This is the brain of our app. It manages the state of our to-do list and handles all the logic for adding, deleting, editing, and toggling tasks. First, we import React and some hooks, useState, useEffect, and useRef. These are essential for managing state and side effects in React. Next, we import the to-do and to-do form components. The to-do component will display individual tasks, and the to-do form will let us add new tasks. We also import uid4 from the UUID library. This will help us generate unique IDs for each task, so we can easily identify and manage them. The edit to-do form component will allow us to edit existing tasks. Finally, we import Toast Container and Toast from React Toastify. These will be used to show notifications when a task is marked as completed or incomplete. Now, let's set up the state and refs in the to-do wrapper component. We use the useState hook to create a state variable called todos. This will store our list of tasks. setTodos is the function we'll use to update this list. We also use the useRef hook to create a reference called prevTodos. This will help us keep track of the previous state of the to-do list, so we can detect changes like when a task is marked as completed or incomplete. Let's write the function to add a new task. The addToDo function takes a to-do, the task description, as an argument. We update the Todos state by spreading the existing tasks, Todos, and adding a new task object. Each task has a unique ID generated by uid4, the task description, and two flags, completed and isEditing, which are initially set to false. Next, let's write the function to delete a task. The deleteToDo function takes an ID as an argument. We update the Todos state by filtering out the task with the matching ID. This effectively removes the task from the list. Now, let's write the function to toggle a task's completion status. The toggleComplete function takes an ID as an argument. We update the Todos state by mapping through the list. If the ID matches, we toggle the completed status of that task. Otherwise, we return the task as is. Finally, let's write the functions to edit a task. The editToDo function toggles the isEditing flag for a task, which determines whether the task is in edit mode. The editTask function updates the task description and toggles the isEditing flag back to false. Now, let's render the to-do wrapper component. We render a div with the class to-do wrapper. Inside it, we display a heading in the to-do form component, passing the addToDo function as a prop. We map through the Todos array and render either the editToDo form, if the task is in edit mode, or the to-do component, if it's not. Finally, we render the Toast container to display notifications. Now, let's implement the useEffect hook in the to-do wrapper component. This hook is super powerful. It lets us run some code whenever the Todos state changes. In our case, we'll use it to show notifications when a task is marked as completed or incomplete. Inside the useEffect, we loop through each task in the Todos array using todos.forEach. For each task, we check two things. Was the task just marked as completed? We do this by comparing the current task with the previous state, prevTodos.current. If the task was not completed before but is now completed, we set was completed to true. Was the task just marked as incomplete? Similarly, if the task was completed before but is now incomplete, we set was incomplete to true. If was completed is true, we show a success toast notification saying the task is done. If was incomplete is true, we show an info toast notification saying the task is no longer completed. After checking all the tasks, we update the prevTodos reference to the current Todos state. This ensures that prevTodos always holds the previous state of the to-do list, so we can compare it the next time the useEffect runs. The useEffect hook runs every time the todo state changes. This is because todos is listed in the dependency array, todos. Now, let's take a look at the todoform.js file. This component is responsible for adding new tasks to our to-do list. It's a simple form with an input field and a button. First, we import React and the useState hook. The todoform component takes a prop called addTodo. This is the function that will add the new task to our list. We create a state variable called value using useState. This will store the text that the user types into the input field. The handleSubmit function is triggered when the form is submitted. It does three things. Prevents the default form submission behavior using e.preventDefault. Checks if the value is not empty. Calls the addTodo function with the value, the new task, and then clears the input field by setting value back to an empty string. In the return statement, we render a form with an input field and a button. The input field's value is controlled by the value state, and the onChange event updates the state as the user types. Next up is the todo.js file. This component is responsible for displaying individual tasks and handling actions like editing, deleting, and marking tasks as complete. We import React and some icons from FontAwesome. These icons will be used for the edit and delete buttons. The to-do component takes four props. Task, the task object containing the task details. Delete to-do, the function to delete the task. Edit to-do, the function to edit the task. Toggle complete, the function to mark the task as complete or incomplete. The handleToggleComplete function calls the toggleComplete function with the task's ID when the task text is clicked. In the return statement, we render a div with the class todo. If the task is completed, we add the completed class to style it differently. Inside the div, we display the task description, task.task, and two icons, one for editing and one for deleting. These icons are only shown if the task is not completed. When the edit icon is clicked, it calls the editTodo function with the task's ID. Similarly, the delete icon calls the deleteTodo function. Almost there, let's build a editTodoform.js file. This component is responsible for editing an existing task. It's very similar to the to-do form but is used specifically for updating tasks. We import React and the useState hook, just like in the to-do form. The editTodoForm component takes two props. EditTodo, the function to update the task. Task, the task object being edited. We create a state variable called value and initialize it with the current task's description, task.task. This ensures the input field is pre-filled with the task's current text. The handleSubmit function is triggered when the form is submitted. It prevents the default form behavior and calls the editTodo function with the updated task description, value, and the task's ID. In the return statement, we render a form with an input field and a button. The input field's value is controlled by the value state, and the onChange event updates the state as the user types. Let's fix this incorrect prop edit task to editTodo to match the parent component. Update handleSubmit to call editTodo instead of editTodoForm for proper task updates. Now, let's move to the app.js, the root component that holds everything together. We import the to-do wrapper, where the to-do logic happens, and styles.css for styling. The app function renders a div with the to-do wrapper inside, and we export it for use elsewhere. And there you have it. We've built a complete to-do app with React. Let's quickly recap what each component does. App.js, the root component that renders the to-do wrapper. TodoWrapper.js, manages the state of the to-do list and handles all the logic. TodoForm.js, lets users add new tasks. todo.js, displays individual tasks and handles editing, deleting, and toggling completion. EditTodoForm.js, allows users to edit existing tasks. If you enjoyed this tutorial, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more coding tutorials. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. Thanks for watching, and happy coding!